The main difference between VTP version 3 and version 2. VTP is a Cisco proprietary, so not many people use this one. We have multi-vendor devices in our network. So not all devices going to support VTP, so people don't really use VTP. We have started this topic, we have to know this for exam, if you're preparing for exam. Also, you may work in a situation where only Cisco devices are there, then you need this. Let's go. This is what. The VTP version 3 is able to distribute information about the extended range VLANs. Yes. See, do you know what is the maximum number of VLANs a switch will support? No idea? Okay. Any switch, whether it is Cisco or non-Cisco, any switch on Earth will support only 4096. These number of VLANs you can create. Now, in that, up to 1005, these VLANs are normal. Any VLANs that you create more bigger than this, like 2012, what is this VLAN? Extended range of VLANs. Extended range of VLANs. You see? Now, the normal VTPs, they don't really distribute the extended VLAN. VTP version 3 is able to distribute the information about those extended VLAN. The simple VTP version 1 and 2, they can only distribute up to these number of VLANs. And also private VLAN. What is private VLAN? See, these are the three things that people will always get confused with. And you have already know two of them. What are they? They default VLAN, which is VLAN number 1. And then native VLAN, which is the VLAN that you configure on the trunk port in order to accept a non-tagged traffic into the VLAN. Such VLANs in which untagged traffics are accepted is called native VLAN. I was explaining you the other day what is native VLAN. By default, it is 1. I'm not denying that, because by default, switch will have only one VLAN. So native VLAN is also 1. But with default VLAN, native VLAN, and private VLAN, they're not same. Default VLAN is VLAN 1. It will never change. You cannot change. But native VLAN can be changed. You can have VLAN 1 itself as a native VLAN. If you want, you can keep 2 VLAN 2 as a native VLAN. If you want, you can make VLAN 20 as a native VLAN. You see? So native VLANs are configured only on the trunk port. So when an untagged traffic, what is untagged traffic? A traffic without any VLAN IDs. When an untagged traffic comes to the trunk port, those traffics will be accepted into that VLAN, which you have defined as native VLAN. Usually, when there is no native VLAN, untagged traffic will be dropped. Trunk ports will never accept the untagged traffic. But if you wish to accept it on any of the VLAN, you define that VLAN as native VLAN. Yeah. Now, what is private VLAN? This is totally different from native VLAN and default VLAN. Private VLAN is also another Cisco concept. Not any other vendor understands this private VLAN. Private VLAN. I want to ask you a question before I explain you what is private VLAN. Question is, within the VLAN, can all the members communicate? Within a VLAN, can all the members communicate each other? The members of same VLAN, do they communicate or not? Yeah. You cannot restrict them if they belong to same VLAN. But with a private VLAN, you can even avoid a member of same VLAN talking each other. That is private VLAN. Member of same VLAN, usually they communicate because they belong to single broadcast domain. But within that single broadcast domain, you want to create sub broadcast domains. Then you need private VLAN. Private VLAN can deny members of same VLAN talking each other. For example, a family, father, mother, son, daughter, everyone is one family. That's like on VLAN, one family. But when children grow up, they say, this is my room. Don't come here inside my room. I already have less space in my room. You go to your room. This is my room. That is what private VLAN. When they were children, they always love to be together with the father and mother. But when they grow up, they say, this is my room, daddy. This is my room. You go to your room. That is private VLAN. Hope you understood. Though it is a member of same family, they still have some sub division in. Private VLAN is different from native VLAN and default VLAN. We'll talk about private VLAN later when we talk about security. Private VLAN actually provides security. We'll talk about that later. Even father, some fathers, they say, this is my room. Children should not enter because I kept all my office records. Don't disturb my things. I want my things to be there, same as where I have kept. That's a kind of security for for him and for his job. So he says, no, children should not enter into my room. It is daddy's room. Daddy will scold him. That's how the daughters will say. Daddy will scold. That is private VLAN. So now if you want the private VLAN information, extended range VLAN information to be distributed to all the switches, VTP version 1 and 2 cannot do it. You need version 3. We have not seen version 3 yet. Version 3 is not that easy, like what you have in version 1 and 2. Version 1 and 2, not much difference. Only difference is this. Version 1 don't support token ring. Version 2 supports it. Version 2 supports token ring. Version 1 don't support. That's the difference between 1 and 2. But who cares? What is token ring? No one knows. I don't know. That's one technology, older technology, token ring, where we used to have ring topology and there will be token. Whoever has got the token only can communicate. All the rest need to wait. That much only I know. And it's a very slow communication, so no one use it today. The slow way of communicating. Only those who have token can communicate. Only one person can have the token at a time. In that, all the devices will be connected in a ring fashion. That's why it is called as token ring, ring topology. Okay. So I have explained you the main difference between 1, 2, and 3 now. Other things are story, not that important. One more point I need to mention is the MST. MST, multiple VLAN spanning tree, which we did as a last spanning tree, IEEE 802.1W standard. You don't need to go to every single switch and configure MST. If you have VTP version 3 in the switches, the MST configuration that you put in one switch, MST or MSTP, both are same. The MSTP configuration that you put on one switch will get distributed to all the switches. So you don't need to go and configure MST. So not only the VLAN is distributed, even the instance, the VLAN mapping to the instance, the range of VLANs, all these things are distributed. Now I'm going to show you these things as a demo. Before that, do you have any question? I told you version 1 don't support token ring. Version 2 supports it. That's the difference between 1 and 2. In 3, not only the token ring is supported, MST configuration distribution is supported, distribution of native VLAN is supported, distribution of private VLAN information is supported. So all this supported. Any question before we go to the demo? Okay. So we're going to have VTP version 3. For VTP, there are two conditions important. What is that? Domain name and trunk. So first of all, let me go and configure trunk on those links that are there between the switches. Starting from switch 1. Four. Okay. So now let it come. Okay. Enable config interface range Ethernet 00-1 switchboard trunk encapsulation.1q. I told you in some switches you have to mention the encapsulation type, and then you say switchboard mode trunk. I would like to call this switch 1. Now next. Switch to interface range Ethernet 00-1 switchboard trunk encapsulation.1q switchboard mode trunk. Likewise, I'll go to switch 3. Interface range Ethernet 00-1 switch port trunk encapsulation .1 queue switch port mode trunk. Switch port trunk encapsulation .1 queue switch port mode trunk. Okay. Now next thing is the domain. So let me give domain name as VTP domain Cisco 123. Let me also do this on other switches. VTP domain Cisco, and also here. And also on switch 1. Okay. Now, next thing is the version. Before I show you configuring how to configure version 3, let me show you what is currently present. Show VTP status. You can see the version by default running right now is version 1, but it is capable of supporting 1, 2, and 3. Let us go and configure version 3. Before that, I would like to take a snapshot of this picture of the screen and show you the difference in the same command output. Version 1, if you see, the output looks like this. Let us configure version 2 and see the output. VTP version is 2. When I say VTP version 2 and show VTP status, you see this is how the output looks like. Almost similar. Okay. Yeah, no much difference. Now, I'm going to configure version 3. VTP version 3. Now, I would like to show you, see the older 2 version VLAN configuration file detected and read OK. Version 3 file will be returned in this feature. Okay, next. Show VTP status. Now you see the output is totally different, you see. You have a few more things here. You have something called primary ID, which is not here. And then you can see it can even support 4096 VLAN. I told you that's the maximum extended VLAN support. That's the number of VLAN any switch will support. So version 3 can support all VLANs. Whereas the normal version 1 and 2 can support only 1005. Hope you remember what I wrote in the somewhere I wrote. I told you. Now, and also if you see, you have more informations like MST and some additional features also. Now, what is this primary ID? You remember when we learned about mode, when we learned about VTP mode, we learned 3 modes: server, client, and transparent. 3 modes. Server, client, and transparent. I was telling you, someone can easily change the client mode to a server mode and they can go delete all your VLANs. So to avoid all such thing, VTP version 3 is designed like this. Among these 4 switches, even if all are server, no one can generate a VTP packet. To generate a VTP packet, that switch need to be a primary server. Primary server, not simply a server. It need to be a primary server. So the MAC address of the primary switch will be seen here. If switch 1 is the primary switch, then switch 1's MAC address will be here. If switch 2 is the primary, then switch 2's MAC address will be here. So not every switch can generate VTP packet. Okay, and also we will enable authentication. Let me enable authentication. VTP version 3. We already did. VTP password. ABC is the password I'm giving. And I would like to keep this as secret. Okay, secret password should be length of 30. I don't want secret, then I'll keep it as hidden. Okay, so ABC is the password. So if someone wants to configure VLAN, that someone should be a primary server VTP, not simply server, primary server. And also to make it as a primary server, someone needs this password. So knowing just the switch password is not enough. They also need to know this password. So this is an additional security, which is not there in VTP 1 and 2. Yeah. Now, I'll go to other switches, configure version 3 with this password quickly. Switch to VTP version 3. VTP password is ABC, no? Yeah, ABC, hidden. And I'll go to the other 2 switches, do the same thing. VTP version 3. VTP password is ABC, hidden. VTP version 3. VTP password is ABC, hidden. Show run only the section that starts with VTP. Nothing. It's safe. It's hidden. Okay, what is next? I'm going to create a VLAN. See, it won't allow me to create a VLAN. Even though they are servers, you see, show VTP status. Even though it is a server, there is no switch so far elected as the primary switch. So it won't allow you to create VLAN. I want to create VLAN 2 to 200. It's not allowing. It says, hey, VTP VLAN configuration not allowed when the device is not a primary server. Okay, so a switch need to be a primary server. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this as a primary server. Before that, I want to show you on the other switches. Please focus. I'm in switch 2 now. See the host name? Switch 2. Show VTP status. You see, there is nothing against the primary ID. Also on switch 3, show VTP status. Nothing. against the primary ID. Switch 4, show VTP status, nothing. Now, I'm on switch 1. Want to make this as the primary. How to make this as a primary? It is here in this mode. This is called as privilege mode. We'll talk about the modes a bit later. Not into the configuration mode. This is configuration mode. You need to make the switch as a primary by going to this privilege mode. VTP primary for VLAN. It is asking me the password. The password I gave is ABC. It will take a while actually. See, I already typed, I hit enter. I already typed the password. Okay. It takes some time. And then it will send a message to all the switches that, okay. Let's say it was checking whether there's a conflict, no conflict found. Do you want to configure? Continue, yes. Now you will see not only this switch, every switch will know that this is the primary. Wait for it. Let's go to the other switch and check. Switch to. Okay, still it has not come. We need to wait. It will take a while actually. Go back to switch 1. What happened? VTP version 3. VTP version, no. VTP primary. Okay, I'm simply saying primary. And ABC, hidden, enter. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I was waiting for. Look at this. Switch 1 says, whoever has this MAC address is the primary. You know whose MAC address is this? Switch 1's MAC address. How do I know? Show spanning tree, you will see there. You see this MAC address. This MAC address and this MAC address is same. Isn't it? Now, if you go to the other switches, this switch 1, go to the other switch. The other switch also now knows who is the primary server. Check it. Look at this. Switch 1 is the primary server. Who says that? Switch 4 is telling that. Go and check the other switches. Switch 3 also says switch 1 is the primary and this is the MAC address. So now only on switch 1 you will be able to create VLANs. Right now, show VLAN brief. There's only one VLAN. But when I create VLAN 2 to 20, I'm allowed to create. Now let us verify. Show VTP status. You can see that. So for 24 VLANs we have. And if you type show VLAN brief, you can see those VLANs. You see 20 VLANs that which we created. So not only in this switch, even on other switches like switch 2, show VLAN brief. You see 20 VLANs. Now the easy way to check whether the distribution happened is you need to compare the message digest. Please focus. Show VTP status. This message digest, if it is matching on all the switches, then they're all having same VLANs. Now I'll go to switch 4 and show you. Compare the message digest. Look at this. It's the same message digest. Switch 1's message digest and switch 4's message digest is same, MD5 digest. So you can blindly say that the VLANs are also same. Let's go and check. Show VLAN brief. You see 20 VLANs. Yeah. So we have learned how to configure VTP version 3. Now, if you try to delete no VLAN 15, not possible because it's not primary. So only a primary one can do it. Here I can do no VLAN 15. Now, if you check, the message digest is changed to 19. Okay, see the last number 19. Earlier it was different. Now let us go to switch 4. Earlier, this is what the message digest we had 0x55, but now if you see 19. So you can easily say that even the database, the VLANs will not have 15. You see after 13 you see 14 and after 14 you see 16. 15 is missing. So VTP version 3 we have learned. We have learned how the VTP version 3 is more secure than VTP version 1 and 2. So if you want to make switch 3 as the primary, what you will do? Go to switch 3 and say VTP primary. Password is ABC. Wait some time. Now switch 1 will lose its primary role. Switch 3 will gain it. Okay, you see this is 3000. Switch 3 is. Now if you go to switch 1 will also agree, yeah, I am not the primary. Let's go and check now. You see, this also says I'm not the primary. Switch 3 is the primary. So now in switch 1, if you try deleting no VLAN 16, it won't allow. But switch 3 will allow. It allows. Are you comfortable with what you have learned so far? So what we are going to do in our next classes, the same topology, I'll create MST. So you go back to your previous videos and learn MST one more time. Recall what you learned and come. We will configure MST on one of the switches, and the other switches will get those configurations replicated. In version 2 and version 1, it is not possible at all, right? So we'll stop here.